Hey, what's up, guys? This is David Chase Taylor of 911truther.org. Today is October 12th of 2025. So, based on breaking news and events, it appears the CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland is going to neutralize U.S. President Donald J. Trump in some form or fashion surrounding his historic trip to the Middle East to sign the peace agreement between Israel and Hamas in the next few hours. So exactly how this is going to transpire in reality is obviously not known, but this impending assassination or death event targeting Trump is specifically designed to trigger World War III. So really quick, before I get into the scenarios that are blinking red, I'm just going to highlight Trump's schedule because it's unprecedented for a sitting U.S. president, and the schedule itself suggests foul play. Just looking at it, so Trump took off from Joint Base Andrews in Frederick County, Maryland, at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so about 2 hours ago. And he is currently on Air Force One, flying across the Atlantic Ocean to Tel Aviv, Israel, where he is scheduled to land at 2 o'clock, 2:20 exactly, a.m. Israeli time in Tel Aviv. So the very fact that he's arriving at night is highly suspicious. And then he is slated to give a 4 o'clock a.m. address to the Knesset. So if you know anything about government, they generally operate between 9 to 5. But in this particular case, they're making it an exception for Trump to speak to the Knesset because they are in fact planning to murder this man and basically decapitate the United States. Then he is leaving at 6 a.m. from Tel Aviv, and he's going to Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, where they just assassinated 3 Qatari officials in a so-called accident, which appears to be a blood sacrifice offered up to this impending attack on Trump. And then at 6:45, he lands in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, which is on the Red Sea. And then at 7:30 a.m., he participates in a historic peace ceremony between Israel and Hamas. Is going to be a no-show, which is also suspicious, which suggests that they're planning some sort of ambush on Trump. And then at 10 o'clock a.m. Egyptian time, he is going to depart for the United States for Washington, D.C. So what we know is that aside from the red flags regarding the scheduling, we know that Trump is never going to land in the United States on the morning of October 14th of 2025. It's 100% guaranteed. You can mark it down. Because he's going to be neutralized by Israel in some form or fashion. This is what the Charlie Kirk assassination back on September 10th of 2025, it was a blood sacrifice offered up to the impending assassination of Trump, and it's going to happen surrounding this trip. And this event, as stated earlier, is going to be used to trigger World War III, namely the Battle of Armageddon depicted in Revelation 16:16. Coincidentally, the evening of, I should say that J.D. Vance will be sworn in as the 48th President of the United States by October 14th of 2025, because that is when Trump is slated to return to Washington, D.C. So obviously, being that Trump is in the Middle East, you have ISIS, you have in Syria, you have Iran, you have Hezbollah, you have Hamas, you have Russia, who's in neighboring Syria, you have China in Djibouti, which is on the other side of the Red Sea, and then of course you have Israel. So it appears that they're going to blame one or more of these actors for the impending assassination of Trump. But because of the global spotlight being shown onto Israel, a targeted assassination such as a sniper attack or some sort of missile strike by Iran It's obviously not out of the question. They could go with a Zionist assassination event, such as they attacked Israeli Prime Minister Hassan Rabin. They could go with any variation of attack, but I believe they're going to stage an Iranian RQ-1 drone attack targeting Trump shortly after he lands in Tel Aviv. So back in I think it's 2017, maybe even earlier, Iran allegedly captured an RQ-1 U.S. Predator drone, I believe it is. And so they're likely going to, and which is obviously in control of Israel. They just say that Iran has it. And so I believe that what's going to happen is Trump is going to land at Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv on the morning of around 2:20 a.m. And then at some point between Trump's landing and Trump's departure from Tel Aviv to the Knesset, so from before he leaves the airport, this drone is going to crash into the Air Force One. And because there are probably millions of tons of explosives located beneath the airport, it's going to appear as a nuclear event. And so this is going to be a nuclear attack by Iran to wipe out Trump and to attack Israel, to basically kill two birds with one stone, and thereby triggering World War III and fulfilling the biblical prophecy of Revelation 16:16 and the Battle of Armageddon. So this is what all this hoopla is about. They had to basically bait Trump and get him to go to Israel, and so that they could stage this Iranian revenge attack on Trump, because Trump is the one that organized, along with Netanyahu, the Operation Midnight Hammer, which was targeting Iran's nuclear sites. This was all designed to provide a timely motive for a revenge nuclear event targeting Trump at a later date. This is why Benjamin Netanyahu in 2012 was photographed giving a speech in front of the United Nations with a cartoon bomb, nuclear bomb, stating that they're at 90% enrichment, and all this bullshit that's going on with the Iran nuclear deal with Obama. Everything is going to climax at this point in time with the whole world watching. We just had Steve Witkoff and Ivanka Trump giving a speech in Israel about the hostages, and so this war, they're not going to let it go without staging some sort of horrific event in the Middle East in the next 24 to 48 hours. Whether it's in Israel, whether it's in Egypt, they're going to seize this opportunity. It's most likely going to be nuclear in nature, but what's certain is that it's going to end with the death of U.S. President Donald J. Trump in Egypt or in Israel. And this event is going to be blamed on Iran, on China, on Hamas, on ISIS, but it's going to be used to start World War III. So basically, they're offering the death of Trump, the impending death of Trump, is going to be a blood sacrifice offered up to a World War III. And so, obviously, Russia, China, Iran are the most likely actors, which would be scapegoated, but make no mistake, this is going to be executed. Even this nuclear attack in Tel Aviv is going to be executed by the Israeli government, and because they want to use this attack to give them carte blanche of world domination, to basically do whatever they want all over the world, because as soon as nuclear war breaks out, martial law will be installed, and then there will be democracy will be a afterthought at that point. So just to recap, Trump is currently on Air Force One. He's scheduled to land in Tel Aviv at 2:20 a.m. Israeli time, and so he is slated to give a speech at the Knesset at 4 o'clock a.m. So the number 4 is the Swiss cross, and that's because they plan to burn Trump in a nuclear event. That is why there was previously a fire at the Knesset. So this nuclear event could happen, like I said, at Tel Aviv, at Ben Gurion Airport, or it could happen at the Knesset. It would not surprise me if there is a large amount of explosives beneath the Knesset, and they staged a fire and evacuation of the Knesset. This was designed to foreshadow this event. So this nuclear event in Israel is precisely why Israel was created. It is why the shape of Israel is a shiv or a dagger, because this is going to be a dagger that they plunge into the heart of the world, thereby triggering World War III. And it's going to start with the death of Trump, and most likely a nuclear event, either targeting, most likely via an Iranian drone or missile targeting Tel Aviv, most likely the Knesset, or David Ben Gurion Airport. So obviously, if this happens, know that it was planned by Switzerland and her CIA, and that this is all part of a premeditated narrative that they want to trigger World War III, and they're willing to sacrifice a sitting U.S. president as well as the state of Israel in this horrific attack that is slated to transpire, most likely during the live edition of Sunday Night Football on the evening of the United States. So that would mark October 13th, and that is coincidentally April 13th of 2022 was the first Iranian drone attack and missile attack targeting Israel. It was on April 13th, and then of course we had the June 13th was the Israeli attack on Israel. The Iranian attack on Israeli attack on Iranian nuclear sites in Iran, and then of course, so now this will be the third 13, and so this will be a tit for tat back and forth on the number 13. This will be the third 13, and this will be a Iranian nuclear attack targeting Israel while Trump is in the premises on the ground in Israel, designed to trigger World War III, assassinating sitting U.S. president. So if this in fact happens, I kindly ask that you download this video and share it with local, state, and federal law enforcement, military, and intelligence officials, as well as with local, national, and